Good morning. The time is currently 9:30, but I will give people a couple more minutes to join the Zoom before beginning today's Rulemaking Advisory Committee hearing. If you are joining on Zoom and would like to testify today, please indicate so in the chat. Good morning. My name is Pierre Sabah, Policy Analyst with the Building Codes Division, and I'm the facilitator for today's Rulemaking Advisory Committee. This is a hybrid hearing being held in person in the main conference room of the state's Building Codes Division at 1535 Edgewater Street, Northwest, Salem, Oregon, and virtually over Zoom. This Rulemaking Advisory Committee is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. Today's date is Tuesday, March 26, 2024. The time is approximately 9:33 a.m. The purpose of today's Rulemaking Advisory Committee is to assist the Building Codes Division or the division in expanding the scope of the Phased Mechanical Minor Label Inspection Program under OAR 918-440-0520 to a statewide program. The role of the committee is to provide valuable feedback and alternative perspectives on the proposed rulemaking. For today's agenda, I will begin a short intro and background on the rule. We will then move into our discussion. Any additional topics and next steps will be discussed at the end of the meeting. For some background on this rule, minor labels allow for some minor work to be completed and inspected using an alternative process to the normal permitting process. Several specialty codes have a minor label program. Starting in October of 2020, the division piloted a mechanical minor label permitting program in select jurisdictions. Afterwards, the division adopted OAR 918-440-0520, which created the mechanical minor label phase program. This program went into effect on October 1st, 2021. The rule extended the mechanical minor label inspection program in the following jurisdictions: Coos, Deschutes, Jackson, Lynn, and Marion counties, the cities of Albany, Central Point, Medford, and Salem. Under this program, contractors in participating jurisdictions were able to purchase mechanical minor labels to cover certain minor repairs and installations covered by the Oregon Mechanical Specialty Code and the mechanical provisions of the Oregon Residential Specialty Code. The purpose of the update to this rule is to allow this program to become a statewide tool in all jurisdictions in Oregon. With that, we can move on to our discussion. Our first topic is the actual rule change. The division welcomes any feedback on ways to ensure that the mechanical minor label inspection program implementation is a smooth and efficient process. The division welcomes any ideas, thoughts, and concerns on what has and hasn't worked for the mechanical label inspection program and ways to improve the processes as the program intends to go statewide. For anyone joining late, we are opening the discussion on the rule. If anyone has any feedback, thoughts, questions, ideas, anyone is free to participate in the discussion. Once again, this discussion topic is for any feedback on ways to ensure that the mechanical minor label inspection program is a smooth and efficient process. I'll keep this topic open for another minute or two, and then we can move on to the next topic, and we can always come back to this topic if people wanted to come back. We will move on to our second topic, which is any fiscal and economic impacts of this rulemaking. With any rulemaking the Building Codes Division makes, we are required to make particular note of the potential fiscal and economic impacts that might result from new rules. The division is requesting input from the committee on the nature and extent of any fiscal or economic impact that may be caused by this rule. Some examples would be any additional costs or requirements on local municipalities, any additional costs or requirements on particular types of businesses, if the rule will require any additional training to implement, comply, or enforce, or if the rule will make any particular actions or products more or less expensive. This is just some examples, so any thoughts on fiscal and economic impact that go beyond the items detailed are welcome here. Once again, this topic is about the potential fiscal and economic impacts of this rulemaking. I'll hold this topic open for another minute before moving on. Okay, we will move on to our third topic, which is any potential impact on racial equity in the state. With any rulemaking, the Building Codes Division is required to make particular note of any potential impact on racial equity in the state that might result from the rules. The division welcomes any input from the committee on the nature and extent of any impact this rule may have on racial equity in Oregon. I'll keep this topic open for another minute. Once again, we're on the topic of any potential impacts of racial equity in the state. Okay, we will move on. This is an opportunity for the committee to discuss any issues that were not previously discussed or to cycle back on any of the topics previously mentioned. We will hold the line open for a couple of minutes before discussing next steps. Once again, I will hold the line open in case there are any discussions on any of the topics we discussed today. I will hold this open for another minute. Thank you. Okay, I'll discuss next steps. The division anticipates the following for updating the rule language in OAR 918-440-0520. There will be the division anticipates holding a public rulemaking hearing sometime in mid to late May where interested parties can provide testimony about the proposed updated rule language. Then, the division anticipates concluding the rulemaking process with a July 1, 2024 effective date for this rule update. That concludes today's Rulemaking Advisory Committee. Thank you all.